What's up, everybody? So this is the Old Photos New Eyes Challenge. This is all about going through some of your old photos and bringing them into Lightroom, and we're going to focus on the radial filter. So I'm going to show you how I use the radial filter to add some light leak looking things. And I'm going to show you how you can make kind of horizontal straight lines. I did a whole series called Seeing with Lasers where I had lasers coming out of models' eyes in old photos. So you can use the radial filter for a lot of things. So yeah, just go through your old hard drives and kind of repurpose your old photos with a new edit. And yeah, it's just a great practice to get used to the radial filter and see all that it can do. So we're going to hop over to the computer and I'm going to show you how I would use it on a few of my photos. So, all right, see you at the computer. Bye.
All right, hey there everyone. I'm going to go through 4 photos here that I've already edited, and I'm going to show you how I would use the radial filter to just add a little extra pop. So here's the first one. 2 of my best friends walking in a park in Germany when I was staying with them. So yeah, I've already got the edit done to a place where I like. It's a nice photo as is, but if I wanted to add a little something extra to get kind of a more dreamy effect, I would just use this radial filter tool here. And I'm just going to drag a big sweeping circle up to the top here. And one of my things that I do with the dehaze slider is I'll drag it down. Whoops. Make sure you select invert so it's inside of the radial filter. And then I'll just dehaze a little bit, and you see how that can kind of add just a bit of a little dreamy effect. And then I can up the exposure if I want. And then I feel like that's good. You can also right click and hit duplicate. And then you can adjust even more from there if you wanted to add a second one on top. Oops. So yeah, I feel like that's a good little added effect here. We'll go down to the history and you can see. So there's the edit before, and then here it is with the radial filter added. So it just adds a little bit. And now that I go back to it, I may take the exposure out of that one. There we go. Oops. Yeah. That looks good. So you can see it just adds just a little extra pop. You never want to overdo anything. And then with these next 3 photos, this is just kind of an old edit, kind of like an old film shot that you'd find in like a shoebox of just some random scene. This is a dancer's feet. So the other cool thing you can do with the radial filter is you can drag it vertically and drag it way down so you can see how you get just a vertical line here. And then select invert again so it's inside of that line. So now I can do the dehaze and bump the exposure. And now we have almost a light leak forming. And then you can adjust it from there. And maybe I'll drag it over to this side. No, I like it over here. And then you can also go to color here and select a color if you want. So a lot of light leaks turn out kind of red or purple. Those are kind of the colors that I use for these. So I'm just going to go with kind of a purpley red. And then I'm just going to place it. And I'm just going to do straight off the side actually. So now I'm going to right click again and hit duplicate. And then with that duplicate, I'm going to adjust to where it's a bit more thin. Whoops. And you can adjust the feathering here too. So play with that. So if you want a dead straight line, you can do that. I like to feather quite a bit because you get more of kind of a natural looking leak. And then I would just adjust the exposure on this a little bit. And I'm also just going to change the color a bit to more of a red-orange. and play with the dehaze a little more. Yeah, and there we go. So it just adds a little bit. Now that I'm looking at it again, I'm going to drag this down just so I can separate the two. And I can widen this even more so you get even a bigger, broader leak. And then I can just place this all the way on the side over here. I keep hitting the wrong button on the keyboard. Yeah, and then that's just kind of a nice little dreamy haze. And you can obviously drag both of them wherever you want. Like that's too much. So yeah, I like this over here. Just kind of a nice little effect you can add to a photo. So with this one, I want one kind of up in the corner here. So I'm just going to drag kind of a broad one, select invert, and play with the haze first. So I've got that. And I'll probably go with kind of a bluish purple in this one. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to really adjust it from here and just place it to where I want. Now I'm going to create my duplicate. Then you can just keep playing with that if you want to. If you want to place one on each corner, you can do that. You can also just kind of randomly place them. So I usually place these with a little bit of intent. I don't go too wild with these. So say I wanted to kind of have a leak kind of leaking in from the right corner all the way to the left where it's a bit more pronounced in the left, I can do that. And then again, I can play with the feathering if I want, so I can get there. You can see when the feathering's at 0, you can see the hard line. So definitely play with the feathering quite a bit. The more the feathering, the kind of more natural it looks. Whoa. Yeah, there we go. So it just adds a little something to a photo. These types of shots are why I started to play with these leak type of filters a bit more. But here's a situation where you have deep shadows and deep blacks in the water here. So you can also use the radial filter for very simple things. So without selecting invert, if I just wanted to drop those shadows in the background even more, I can simply drag the exposure and up the feathering. So you don't want it down here because that's kind of a spotlight. You just want the blacks and shadows to kind of fall off just a bit more. Yeah, and you just have a play with it until it looks pretty natural. You don't want it to be super pronounced like this because that just looks, I mean, it's kind of cool, but you can just tell that it's heavily edited. So you just want it to be kind of subtle where it looks like just some soft light creeping in on the slide there. So then after that, you can also, like red will look pretty cool here. So I can go in, I can do a little leak and just adjust it kind of like it's the tip of a flame coming in. So this one I will select invert, play with the dehaze first, and then up the exposure. Now on this one, I'm definitely going to use like a red. So you can see there, we've already got something kind of cool going on. And then I'm going to right click and hit duplicate again. Or duplicate, I guess would be the right pronunciation. And then I would just adjust this one Bring down the exposure just a tick. So it just kind of looks like an old filmy shot. I can up the grain quite a bit on this one, so it really kind of looks like a film-esque type shot. But yeah, that's essentially playing with the radial filter instead of just using it to make standard adjustments, more like a brush. You can make plenty of shapes with these and just enhance a photo and just add some nice little effects that are can be quite subtle, which is always really pleasing to the eye. So yeah, hopefully that helped you, and hope you learned a little something. Can't wait to see what you all create. Don't forget to use the hashtag Imagination Series Challenge, and look forward to see what you're making. See you guys soon.